So welcome back. We're here. Some interesting things I've learned and we've talked about in our last broadcast. I pray that you were here and you heard all of these things. This is not a stranger to the body of Christ, nor on this topic. And Dr. Wallach is here with us again, and I'm happy to welcome him to Living by Faith broadcast. Doc, thank you for being with me again.
Pastor Mike, I feel like family. I really appreciate your
Oh,
hospitality.
I appreciate you so much. Now, just talk. Yesterday we talked about eating eggs. I've been removing the yolk from my eggs because they.
Oh, you were given misinformation.
Okay.
This all started out in 1901 when the German Navy went to a German chemist by the name of Wilhelm Norman in Berlin University. Said, look, we need a synthetic, smokeless diesel lubricant for German submarines. By 1904, he'd done it. At the end of the First World War, they didn't need it anymore, so he was allowed to sell it to a British soap manufacturing company. They couldn't sell the soap because everybody's making their own soap. So they sold it to Procter & Gamble here in the States.
Come on.
And they couldn't sell it. Remember, this is a diesel lubricant for German submarines.
Yes, sir.
They couldn't sell it as soap because in the 20s, 30s, 40s, everybody's making their own soap. And so they decided to turn it into a cooking shortening called Crisco. Remember, this is a synthetic diesel engine lubricant for German submarines. Now it's going to be a cooking shortening. And Grandma didn't want to use it because she's using lard, butter, cream, and eggs
Absolutely.
like her
Absolutely.
40 generations of grandmas before her. Well, so this guy by the name of Ansel Keys, who's the head of the Department of Medicine at the University of Minnesota, was on the board of directors of Procter & Gamble. He was also on the board of directors of the American Heart Association. He brokers a deal by which Procter & Gamble gives the American Heart Association $1.7 million, which is kind of chump change today for big institutions. Back then it was a lot of money. Right?
Yes, sir.
So they took it in exchange for endorsing Crisco as a healthier way to eat than buttercream, lard, and eggs. They couldn't sell it. So Ansel Keys goes to an advertising firm and said, how do we sell this? Well, he said, you have to demonize what Grandma's doing. So then she'll go to the heaven piece with church music and butterflies.
Yes, sir.
Is going to be the Crisco. Well, they did an analysis of lard, butter, cream, and eggs. They got two common threads, cholesterol and saturated fat. So they started demonizing that just so they could sell the Crisco. Okay? And then they threw in the Mediterranean diet, which there was no research on, nothing. They just made it up out of their head. And that began to sell. It was romantic, so they began to sell the Crisco. Well, since then, we've gotten about 14 diseases that going to Crisco instead of lard, butter, cream, and eggs, we've switched. In the switch, we wound up with low T, low testosterone, ED, erectile dysfunction, menopause at age 30,
Oh, wow.
adrenal exhaustion, and Alzheimer's disease. All those are caused by a cholesterol deficiency. It turns out that cholesterol is an essential nutrient, and it has nothing to do with the cause of plugged arteries and plaque in your arteries. It was all a fraud to sell Crisco.
And so, but people have to be sitting here just like when I first heard you some years ago. By what authority do you speak? Well, who is this guy? And you're brilliant. All of the information you have concerning all of these deficiencies.
Well, Pastor Mike, this story about the Crisco and
Yes, sir.
And getting rid of cholesterol, winding up with all these cholesterol deficient diseases, was a 2 full-page story in the Wall Street Journal 3 years ago. Now, you realize the Wall Street Journal is a financial newspaper.
Yes, sir.
So when they talk about health or anything like that, it's always 1 column wide, 2 paragraphs long.
Okay.
We're talking 2 full pages to tell this story. And then a couple of years later, 5 full pages in Time magazine, same story.
Come on.
And nobody paid attention to it, even though on the cover of these things they're telling you about, don't listen to this thing about don't eat the eggs, eat butter, don't use margarine, eat butter. All the opposite of what the doctors have been telling us. That was all to sell Crisco.
Absolutely.
And so we wound up with all these diseases. Now they're happy because they make billions of dollars each year for the sale of Cialis and Viagra and Premarin, which is made out of horse urine for women to get artificial estrogen for menopause at age 30.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And then they make billions, no, they make trillions of dollars on statin drugs to lower your blood cholesterol That's what makes the doctors and the pharmaceutical companies really happy, because now they get to treat Alzheimer's disease, which is caused by a deficiency of cholesterol.
And your mind is just clicking away like.
Well, that's because I've done 8,000 human autopsies. I've done 40,000 animal autopsies.
You've done 8,000 human autopsies.
Yes, sir, and 40,000 animal autopsies from 454 species of animals. Nobody else has ever done that before. I'm not smarter than anybody else, but God has put me in a position
Absolutely.
to be confronted with all this information, and as a result, I know things that nobody else knows. They've seen it with their eyes, but they couldn't understand it. They couldn't interpret it because they didn't have the information.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's.
And most of these autopsies that you have,
they're published.
okay, and you have also witnessed the deficiencies.
Yes, sir. Well, this is all done by biochemistry.
Yes, sir.
We spent millions of dollars doing the biochemistries, all the tests. And again, this is why my 1,200-page book, that's essentially my PhD thesis. 1,200-page book that came out of this study is in the Smithsonian Institute as a national treasure, because you cannot find this information anywhere else.
Come on. So these black genetic lies, talk about that.
Okay, well, this all started when I actually rebuilt Andy Young's knees. He was going to get a double knee replacement, rebuilt his knee so he didn't need the surgery. He was introducing me. He was so excited about it. We were talking about sickle cell anemia and hummingbirds and deer, and why you could get a, quote, genetic disease, unquote, from the black community into deer and hummingbirds, which is really just nutritional deficiency, not genetic, as doctors would say. And so I was able to rebuild Andy Young's knees with our nutritional program, so he didn't need surgery. And
I believe that's what kind of contributed to my mom passing away. She needed knee replacement at 80-something
well, they
years.
should never have done surgery on her at 80-something years.
Right, absolutely.
I could have rebuilt her in, say, 90 days, and she'd still be alive today, using God's principles. Now, so Creflo Dollar and Andy Young called me in 1991.
Mm-hmm.
They said, look, Emory University has told us that Pastor Dollar's daughter is not going to make it. She's 11 and a half years old. She's got a genetic form of asthma found in black kids, and she's not responding to maintenance medication nor to emergency medication, and she's not going to live to be 12. She's having so many crises now with her asthma. Emory University says she's not going to live to be age 12. Get ready for her loss, because tomorrow you could wake up, she'll be dead. It's going to happen quick. So they call me, can you do anything? I said, yes, I know what's happening here. I can help you. I can get rid of that. And they were putting their hand over the phone. I could hear them whispering to her. I'm sure Pastor Dollar said, well, Emory University said it's genetic and there's nothing they can do. She's going to die.
Yeah.
And here's this guy, I don't even know who he is, and he's saying he can help her. So I get back on. And so I said, yes. I said, the reason why she's not responding to the maintenance medication and the emergency medication is she's not absorbing it. She has something called gluten intolerance. Her intestines are damaged. She cannot absorb the medication. That's the problem. So we need to get her and your whole family, everybody in the family, Grandma and Pastor Taffy and everybody in the household, and the cook, and needs to be on a gluten-free diet. No fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, brown, and oats. And then here's the program for her to rebuild her lungs and get rid of her asthma. And praise God, Pastor, in 2 weeks she was cured.
Woo,
After 11 and a half years going downhill, in 2 weeks she was cured using God's stuff.
Wow.
And so unsolicited, a month later, I get this very large check, lots of zeros on it, from Pastor Dollar.
Come on.
And I don't take any money for telephone consultations, giving lectures. I don't take the money for the sale of the product. I don't make anything from the sale of the product, because I don't want people to think I'm doing this.
I love it. I love it. Yes, sir.
I don't want people to think I'm doing this for the money.
Yes, sir.
I don't make any money for the sale of products.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I said, I have to give you this check back, and I'm calling you to tell you this personally, because I didn't want you to think I was rude and rejecting your check, and I just want to thank you for your kind thoughts. He said, well, can you do research? I said, yes, sir. What kind of research you want? He said, well, after what you did for my daughter, I want you to find out all the diseases that are said to be genetic in the black community that are not. I want to know how to prevent them and cure them.
Oh, you got to stop right there. You got to stop right there, because once we return, we want to talk about this information that Doc put together, and it's going to bless your life. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere.
Hi, I'm Dr. Joel Wallach, and I'm going to give you the truth about nutrition. What I would like you to do is give me 90 days to show what the 90 essential nutrients can do for your health. For more information on this topic and more, go to truthaboutnutrition.com.
We're back, and I want to get right back into Black Genes Lies.
That's right.
Yeah,
And
talk
we
about
do have
that.
a book, and we have
Yeah.
2 CDs that go along with it. And the research was paid for by Pastor Creflo Dollar.
Okay.
Okay, and he wanted to
I
find
love
out.
Doc. That's my main man.
Yeah,
I thank God for him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's been such a wonder, introducing me more and more great things that God does. And
Absolutely.
appreciate him. And so, at any rate, he sends me this money, which I can't take. So, I wanted to send it back to him. He says, "Well, do the research with it." And what did he want research
You
on?
can't take it because you're not in it for
the money.
For the money. You sincerely want us to know
God's
the body of
message.
Christ, God's message.
That's correct.
I love it. And
All
so,
over the world.
yes, sir.
55 countries have done this in,
55 countries.
and the United Nations.
You could be a very, very wealthy beyond.
Well, I'm wealthy in God's spirit,
Yeah,
but
I
I
know.
could have lots of money, but I don't take
Absolutely.
it. Okay. And so Pastor Dollar, he sends us money, and I say, I can't take the money. And he says, well, can you do research? And I said, well, what kind of research you want? He says, I want you to find all the diseases that are said to be genetic in the black community that are not, how to prevent them, how to cure them. So I hired a bunch of graduate students with the money, and in 6 months' time, I had all the research I needed. I sent him the manuscript to the book before I published it. I wanted his input, say, well, this is where we're going with this is what we found. And he was just shocked. Because all the diseases said to be genetic in the black community, high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, heart disease, cancer, sickle cell anemia, are not.
Are not.
No, they're not. They're just all simple nutritional deficiency diseases. Sickle cell anemia is a nutritional deficiency in the mother when the bone marrow cells are forming in early pregnancy in the embryo. And so sort of like cerebral palsy and heart defects and cleft palate and Down syndrome, this is a birth defect of the bone marrow. And so it only makes dysfunctional hemoglobin called sickle cell anemia. Now, it also occurs in animals because they can get the same birth defect. That's why my book's in the Smithsonian Institute. Right? All vertebrates, same deficiency, get the same disease. White people also get sickle cell anemia. Now, it's supposed to be a genetic disease in black folks.
Certainly.
Right? And so they had to change the name in white guys. Same disease, but they call it thalassemia in white guys.
How about that?
Otherwise, it would confuse the public.
Of course. Yeah. Right.
And so what I had to learn to do was come up with programs to eliminate sickle cell anemia, high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, heart disease. For instance, congestive heart failure. As a pastor, you see lots of people with congestive heart failure.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Sir, we've known for 300 years it's a deficiency of a single vitamin.
A single vitamin.
Yes, sir. The quickest ones I've gotten rid of congestive heart failure is a week. Normally it would take me 2 months or less. Get them off all their medication. They're free of congestive heart failure. Because it's a, you know, for instance, when you have iron deficiency anemia, you and I would want to go to the drugstore and get some iron and take it. But the doctor wants to do a bone marrow transplant. Well, that's why all the insurance companies are going broke, because they're going with all these expensive treatments that just treat the symptoms, don't fix the disease.
Yes,
Whereas
sir.
the nutritional supplementation cures the disease. And some of them people know. You can cure scurvy with vitamin C, you can cure beriberi with vitamin B1, pellagra with vitamin B3, rickets with vitamin D. You can cure, let's see here, you can cure, there's a type of anemia you get with vitamin B12 deficiency, obviously iron deficiency, rickets, vitamin D3, night blindness, where you can't see colors at night.
Yes, sir.
It's a simple vitamin A deficiency.
What about the congestive heart failure? You
It's a
said what
deficiency of a
vitamin?
zinc. Well, I don't tell people what that is because
Okay.
I don't want them to go drop off their medication and get that vitamin because they might have a problem. What we have is what we call the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack,
Okay.
which is a more complete thing. Because when
Okay.
you have congestive heart failure, you got lung problems, you got kidney
Yes,
problems.
yes, sir.
And so we have to deal with all of that. And then we give them what we call the secret sauce, which is that vitamin.
Okay.
We add that secret sauce
The
to it.
secret sauce. Now, how can they find out if we're here?
Well, the number you're giving them,
Yes, sir.
that number, the email address, the website, the telephone number, Miss Linda, our angel, will be their coach.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And walk him through that
yes.
step by step. and they won't have to be concerned about there being any imbalances with
correct.
what they're getting from their doctor. And
No, they can stay on their medication.
Right.
And when they go to their doctor for their usual, in fact, if they're feeling really, really good, I say, go make an extra, don't wait until you're supposed to go there 3 months from now. Just get an appointment, go ahead. See what he says now. He says, I don't know why, but you don't have congestive heart failure anymore. But I get this all the time with diabetes. People with diabetes for 30 years, Pastor, they call me up and say, well, my doctor says I don't have diabetes anymore, not to take any more medication. In 30 days. After 30 years. This is God's work. It never fails.
It never
It
fails.
never fails.
I know when I got out of that hospital after almost checking out, I mean, the
It's very
doctors
scary.
were, this is very, very good, very scary. It's a challenging time for us all. But I got to work on taking all of those things that you were telling me about. And people are telling me that I look, now I don't want to be boasting about how I look, but
Well, you look like a young man. Your skin looks beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been hearing. I mean, my strength, I'm regaining. It's almost daily, and I just feel a lot better. The pressure that I would have challenges with is normalized, and I just thought it was my exercise, a combination of that, but this deficiency that I obviously had.
Now, you had lung problems, didn't you?
Yes, sir,
Okay,
lung
as I
problem.
remember. And of course, the lungs make a hormone to keep the bronchi open,
Okay.
keep your airways open. If you're not making that hormone, those airways, the muscles just close it down. So instead of being as big around as a quarter,
Okay.
your bronchi to your lungs from your trachea,
Yeah.
okay, instead of being a diameter of a quarter, they're the size of a diameter of a pencil.
Ooh.
Maybe
Wow.
maybe an eighth of an inch.
Yeah.
So suddenly you can't hardly breathe.
Yes, sir.
And doctors say, oh, you got a life-threatening situation here. What you do?
Yeah.
Well, I've had people who were told they only have weeks to live. They call me up in the middle of the night. We put them on, say, 18 of these nutrients, and by the morning time, their bronchi are back open to the size of a quarter. They're perfectly normal. You just have to give them the right secret sauce.
Yeah.
And this is what's on the
I
CDs,
like the right
DVDs,
secret
the correct
sauce.
secret sauce.
Yeah.
And all of them are God's. These are
Yeah.
not man's creation. Every one of these is a natural substance made
So
by God.
did you go back like to Genesis, if you will, plant-based, and you've researched all the information that matches certain different dispositions of the body and have connected that particular vitamin with like the lungs and what you just mentioned,
Yes.
the heart. And
And doctors don't pay attention to this because they're looking for the drug that's going to open up your bronchi. Doesn't solve the nutritional deficiency problem,
right.
but the drug will relieve the symptoms. But the disease, what's going to happen is when you're deficient in that same nutrient, you're going to get a blood clot in your lung. You're going to get a thrombotic stroke, or you get a blood clot in the brain, or you get a coronary thrombosis, you get a blood clot in the coronary artery and die. Because the same deficiency causes all those different diseases.
Well, why aren't doctors talk about that a bit?
Well, let's look for 2 minutes on some statistics.
Okay.
Johns Hopkins, very famous medical school from Baltimore, Maryland.
Okay.
They came out 3 months ago and said the number 3 cause of death in human beings in America is simple mistakes in the workplace of a doctor. Third leading cause of death in America is simple mistakes in a doctor's workplace, the hospital. Each year, now this is Johns Hopkins came up with this just a couple of months ago. Published in medical journals, every newspaper in the land had it, was on every TV station. They said each year medical doctors kill, and they use a kill word, each year medical doctors kill 251,000 Americans from simple mistakes. What would happen if a fast food place were to kill 251,000
How about
customers?
that? Yeah. Yes, sir.
What would happen if Iran or
Yeah.
North Korea were to send over an intercontinental ballistic missile with a bad weapon
Absolutely.
and kill 251,000 Americans? It'd be a war.
Absolutely. Obvious.
Well, here's one trade that does it every year in their workplace and nothing happens. Also, we've learned that because of these things, our children will be the first generation of Americans that do not live as long as their parents. You may have heard that too.
Absolutely.
Well, that is a catastrophic prediction of biblical proportions. That's the same as telling the Pharaoh, the firstborn in
Yeah,
Egypt are going to
yeah,
die if you don't
yeah.
let the Hebrew slaves go. Okay? And this is what's going to happen. If we don't supplement these kids properly, they will all die before we do. 'Cause these
How do we
nutrients are
get
not
this
found in the food.
message out more and more?
Well, you're doing it.
Yes, sir.
And again, it's all in the CDs and the DVDs and in the books. And we're working hard, and I can't thank you enough for sharing this with your church family.
Absolutely.
And some of them will take it on, like apostles. And sometimes you feel the frustration. I felt the frustration. And then I thought of Noah and Jesus himself.
Come on.
They couldn't get everybody to do everything.
Come on, come on, come on. We got to stop right there, Doc. We're coming right back to share with you just some tips and things that you should know now. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Dr. Joel Wallach, and I'm going to give you the truth about nutrition. What I would like you to do is give me 90 days to show what the 90 essential nutrients can do for your health. For more information on this topic and more, go to truthaboutnutrition.com.
It's been an awesome broadcast. I want Dr. Wallach to just give us some tips, but I also want you to get in contact with him. You've heard some things that's going to literally revolutionize your life. It's going to change your life. It's changed my life. My health is a lot better. I'm telling you, I'm doing everything this man has given me to do. You can contact him now. His precious angel, he calls her, Linda. She'll be on standby. Just contact her at this number that's on your screen, and you'll have all the information you'll need from that call. I promise you. Doc, give us a few tips on what we can start doing now. If I got high blood pressure, what do I do? If I have diabetes, I call. How do I get started? Give me some tips.
Okay, well, first of all vertebrates, again, humans, turtles, fish, flamingos, and elephants, and giraffe, and rats, and dogs, and pigs, we require 90 essential nutrients, 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, 3 fatty acids. Most multiples on the market have 24, 26, 28, about not even a third.
We require 90.
We require 90. Of those 90, 60 are minerals. Now, plants only require 3 minerals to look good and produce tomatoes and carrots and seeds for the next generation. We need 60.
Okay.
So if you're eating a pretty good looking tomato, tastes good, firm, perfect tomato, you're only getting 3 elements from the soil. You're short 57.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. And so we have to consciously supplement with these things because these nutrients are no longer found in the food. There's some places in the United States, 50, 100, 200 years ago, all 60 minerals were in the tomatoes.
How about that?
Now there's only 3 because our soil is deficient.
Yes, sir.
Well, they're deficient because we went from wood as the universal fuel to electricity. You're probably old enough to remember when we put wood ashes in the garden.
Absolutely.
Wood ashes are not ashes. Wood ashes are the minerals that the trees sucked up out of the ground. We threw the minerals into the garden. We ate the tomatoes, and the carrots, and the beets, and the cabbage. They had sucked up all those minerals. They didn't need them, but they sucked them up. We ate that food, and we got the minerals that way.
How about that?
When we switched to electricity, no more wood ashes in the house anymore. No more wood ashes in the garden. No more minerals. The commercial fertilizers only have the 3 that plants need.
Come on.
So we went from 40, 50, 60 to 3.
3, right.
And nobody knew to make up the difference by supplementing because nobody knew they were getting their minerals from the food.
Okay.
So now we know this.
Okay.
And so you have to consciously supplement. And I like people to get
Every day.
Every day.
Right.
A stick of butter a day.
Okay.
You need to eat a stick of butter a day. It's not an apple a day keeps the doctor away. It says a stick of butter a day keeps the doctor away. Okay? It helps you get rid of and reverses Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, MS, Lou Gehrig's disease, Huntington's disease. All those diseases of the brain are really the same disease, just different parts of the brain are more severely affected, so you get slightly different symptoms.
And we were told that a stick of butter a day would kill us.
Well, cause plaque in your arteries and cause all kinds of arterial disease. No, sir. The margarine is the one that actually does it. Okay? And then, of course, again, I like people to, per 100 pounds of body weight to eat 6 to 8 eggs a day. And that's so you can make hormones.
Okay.
Testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, adrenal hormones belong to a class of nutrients called steroid hormones. They're 95% by weight cholesterol. And if you're eating margarine instead of butter,
right.
and you're eating egg beaters instead of eggs or egg white omelets instead of whole egg omelets, You think you're doing good because the doctor told you so.
That's exactly what
You're
I thought.
deficient in all those hormones. You're going to be needing Cialis and Viagra and Premarin and
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord.
Lord of mercy.
Okay, I'm going to eat some eggs today.
The kicker was in 1991, there was an article published in the New England Journal of Medicine by Harvard Medical School.
Okay.
And there was this old guy, he's 88 years old, and he looked like he was 50, and his blood work showed that he was a healthy 50-year-old guy, although he was 88 years old. And so this professor who was trying to teach newly graduated doctors about seniors, he says, let's look at this guy. And he said, well, why, sir, do you eat, or what do you attribute your youthful looks to and your youthful blood work? He says, well, I eat 25 eggs a day. What? Yeah, I've been doing it for 17 years, and I'm going to do it for the next 100 years. I said, why do you eat 25 eggs a day? He said, because it gives me the sex life of an 18-year-old.
Come on.
And so this was published. This is one of the biggest articles ever written in the New England Journal of Medicine. Eat 25 eggs a day.
I'm going to get some eggs as soon as we end this broadcast. And I'm not here to make light of any of all of this information at all. This information has really been...
They can look it up, March 1991, New England Journal of Medicine.
You look it up yourself. You heard it here. Look it up. Look it up. And then please contact his office. That information is on the screen. His darling angel, Linda, will be there to take your calls. And it's going to change your life. I'm glad you tuned in. This has been Living by Faith. Remember, life is better when you're living by faith. We'll see you soon.
We're living by faith.
Thank you for viewing Living by Faith. If you would like to obtain a copy of today's lesson or any other featured item, please give us a call at 1-888-630-4540.
Dead Doctors Don't Lie, with more than 200 million copies in circulation. Recorded during Dr. Wallach's lectures, this CD touches on a wide range of subjects, including aging, heart disease, cholesterol, arthritis, cancer, diabetes, Alzheimer's, and pregnancy. In all, Dr. Wallach addresses 25 topics and engages in question and answer sessions with the audience. And his book is a comprehensive expansion of the material on the CD, with over 400 pages of information which can significantly impact your quality and length of life. You'll learn how to identify 90 essential nutrients, many of which are not available in food. Prevent and reverse 412 diseases with vitamins, minerals, and herbs. Reach your genetic potential for a long and happy life. Eliminate a major portion of costly medical expenses. Take responsibility for your health, and much, much more. Dr. Wallach's Dead Doctors Don't Lie 400-page book and multi-million selling CD can both be yours today for a gift of $40. It's not too early or too late to gain the knowledge and tools you must have to rescue and revolutionize your health and that of your family and loved ones. Call or order online today.
If you're ever in the Washington or Baltimore metropolitan areas, we invite you to worship with us at one of our Saturday evening or Sunday morning services. Please give us a call at 1-888-630-4540.